Hey, thanks for coming by and checking out my YouTube channel again. Pete Snakebite Kid. If you've been here before, you know what this channel is about. If you haven't, let me tell you, it's about Ford stuff, building car stuff, but mostly three things. Cobras. Specifically building my Hurricane Motorsports Cobra. I've had this for about a year, and I want to give you a progress update on it. I want to answer a question I had from a few viewers too on the brake system. Okay, so as far as the brakes go, I have been wanting to build this car literally for decades. I have built it in my mind a number of times. I've taken it apart in my mind and put it back together and put different engines in it and all kinds of different configurations as you can imagine. One of the things I did end up thinking about and put some thought into and some money into is I want this thing to stop. I think it's going to go forward pretty well. I want to make sure it stops too. So when I ordered it with a set of Wellwood brakes, but I had a question from a couple of viewers on why didn't you use power brakes? And let me go into some details about that. So one of the biggest reasons I didn't use power brakes is it's just one more thing. It's something else you've got to have on there. You've got to figure out how it fits. There's one more thing to go wrong. But another big reason is the original cars didn't have power brakes. Now, as I've mentioned a number of times, I'm trying to make this experience of driving my car as close to an original car as possible. This body is spot on. The body Hurricane uses was actually molded off of a CSX 3000 series car. Doesn't get any closer than that. You know, the steering wheel position, the pedals are floor mounted just like they were in an original car and so on. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to stick with manual brakes. Okay, so power brakes, for the most part, are going to be done with vacuum assist. In other words, there's a vacuum hose coming off the intake manifold, feeding vacuum to the power assist or the booster, and that's how you get the soft pedal, right? So a bumpity bump cam, hot rod, something with, you know, a lot of duration, it doesn't have much vacuum in it idle, so it's hard for that system to work. They work okay. Of course, a lot of times when you're on the brakes, you're letting off the gas from a higher speed and the engine does have good vacuum then. So they don't never work. It's just, they may not work when you really need them. That's the problem. Okay, to give you an example of when power brakes didn't work for me, now this doesn't apply exactly to the Cobra, but I mentioned before, a Boss 302. There's an artist rendering of it. My Boss 302 had a few engines in it over the years, but a couple in particular had pretty big cams in them. And you know, when you put the car in gear, it's pulling against a converter because it's idling fast and so on. And that's when you don't have vacuum. So like staging the car into the lights at a drag strip, you don't have power assist then and trying to bump it in against a converter. Sometimes it's pretty tough. The other thing is sometimes idling through a parking lot, you go to stab the brakes and the car's been idling for, you know, the last 20, 30 seconds and you've tapped the brakes a couple times and there's no brakes there. Having converted my Boss 302 from power assist to manual, I really liked the feel of it. To me, it felt very linear and I felt that it had more feel of it. So to me, it's a better feel. Like I say, it's how the cars came originally, and it's just one more thing I don't have to put on the car and make fit and so on. But let's take a look at the brakes we did put on. Okay, so there we have it. There's a brake pedal. These babies are exact duplicates of the original brake pads. So these brake pedal pads were welded on by Heat Tech onto the Wellwood levers, which I think looks pretty sano. Thank you guys. The way these are set up, so this is a front brake master, this is a rear brake master. This little adjustment here is this rod goes right to left. It changes the bias or how each master cylinder is pushed. So as you move it one way, it pushes on that cylinder more quickly than it does the other one. So that's how we can set the front to rear brake bias, and I think I've got that set pretty closely. I'm sure I'll have some fiddling to do later on. If I need to do some more fine tuning, I may put a hydraulic prop valve to the rear brakes if I need to, but I think I can get it close with that. So that's what the pedals look like. Up here we got the masters on the other side, and like you saw, there's 3 master cylinders. We've got the front, the rear, and the clutch master. And then we got the brakes. So These front brake calipers are welded 4-piston, and the rotors have been drilled and slotted. And that should be able to haul the car down pretty quick, manual or power assist. But like I say, I really like the feel of manual brakes. So here's the rear brakes. It's got the same caliper, front and rear, 4-piston. And as you can see, the rotors are drilled and slotted here. This is the biggest rotor and caliper package that you can get inside a 15-inch wheel. And I really wanted to stick with a 15-inch wheel, as you know, to make it look as original as possible. So I mentioned I had set the bias on the front to rear. I've just got a couple miles on this. I haven't gone probably over 30 or 40 miles an hour. But you can see I've still got some paint left on this rotor. The front rotor, I've just about got all the paint cooked off of it. Of course, these brakes aren't even worn in yet. They've still got paint on the rotors, but my point is there's a little bit left on the back. There's not much left on the front, so I do have the fronts applying a little bit more quickly than the rears. So that's what the brakes look like on the back. Okay, so that's my story on why I'm using manual brakes instead of power assist brakes. Hope it makes sense to you. Hey, when you build yours, you might want power brakes. I just hope it gives you something to think about and gives you my perspective. Thanks for watching Pete's Snake Bite Kit. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you enjoy these half as much as I enjoy making them. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.